We respectfully request the Sangha great virtues for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tăng thịnh, vì thứ pháp hội cấp nhất thiết chúng sanh, tin chuyên diệu pháp luân giao đạo ngã môn, như há liêu sanh thoát tư ly khổ đạo lạc, tất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Namo Sadanto Suchedo Ye Lahudi San Miao San Puto Che. Namo Tatakta Toya Daya Lahade Tamyo Tambo Da Toa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I am able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu sheng 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 wei miao fa bai qian wan jie nan zao yu, wo jin jian wen de shou chi, yuan jie ru lai zhen shi yi. O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Great Master Jing Liang, Great Master YongHua, all good monks and nuns, and all good knowing advisors of Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、精良大士、师父、上人，为各位出家人、各位善知识，弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa Thanh Lương Đại sư Hòa Thượng Tiên Hóa, quý thầy cô và các vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone, today is the 11th already of August 2023. We're here in Wei Mountain to continue discussing the prologue to the Avatamsaka Sutra, prepared by Master Jing Liang. Thank you all for joining us. Okay, we're presently on slide 507. So he's going through the various Dharma masters who chose to classify the Buddha's teachings. Here we're talking about a group of Dharma masters who advocated that Buddhist teaching can be divided into three different kinds: gradual, sudden, and perfect. You have a very nice survey of the Buddhist teachings here. Most bookworms who do research on Buddhism would not be aware of this, that beyond gradual, sudden teaching and three teachings, there's whole classification to four kinds of teachings, or other ways of classifying the Buddhist teaching into three as well. So actually it's kind of nice for you to be exposed to this, so that you won't be as shocked when people try to question you or try to show off their knowledge. I assure you, none of them who try to impress you would be as knowledgeable as Master Jing Liang. All right. Text says, he also established the three teachings, that is gradual, sudden, and perfect.
义立三教，未见顿圆。
Okay, so this is very popular. Most people who talk about Buddhist teachings, they would mention there is 3 types of teachings. Primarily, in most places, they talk about gradual and sudden, and also, actually, there's also something called perfect teaching as well. Okay, the China world, people who meditate would know about gradual versus sudden. Gradual is basically the starting teaching, and sudden is more advanced teachings that belongs to Mahayana, meaning that unless you go into Mahayana, you will not encounter certain teaching. And then finally, perfect teaching is the all of it, not just gradual sudden, still falls short of the Buddhist complete teachings. Yes, going YouTube, they have a question there.
한국 단톡방에 올라온 입간님 질문입니다. 귀한 법문을 해주셔서 감사드립니다. 10소주에 관련되는 부처님들에 대해 알고 싶고 각각의 효능은 무엇인지 궁금합니다.
Thank you for your precious teaching. I have a question about the 10 small mantra. I believe each mantra has some associated Buddha and Bodhisattva. Could you please explain about the associated Buddhas and Bodhisattva for each mantra, and what is the effect of each mantra?
Let me see. The teaching of the 10 small mantras are the one that we use a lot in ceremonies, especially in the morning ceremonies. They're designed for different purposes, and they're not necessarily associated with bodhisattvas. Basically, the mantras are sacred, the words from the Buddhas. By the way, bodhisattvas' mantras are nowhere near the power of the Buddha's mantras. Okay, and so these 10 small mantras are actually connected with the Buddhas, and even though it says, for example, Chunti mantra, actually Chunti Bodhisattva is actually a Buddha. Okay, so anyway, you don't have to worry about bodhisattvas. The 10 small mantras, they are very useful, and the fact that you are reciting 10 small mantras will bring you a lot of blessings and solve a lot of issues for you. For example, when I was small, I was in Hue, Vietnam, long time ago. I was maybe around 2 or 3, maybe 3 or 4, and I was staying with my grandmother. And at the time, I had a severe infection, and my tongue was yellow from the pus. So I basically was very, very sick, and it lasted for 2 or 3 months. So every day, I think they gave me some penicillin or something, and then every day I had nothing to do, so I would stand in front of the house. We have a big property there. Not that we're rich, we just happen to have a big property, lots of land. So at the time, across the street was a high school. And so the kids, the students would come over to our house, our big property, and would have rows and rows upon bicycles. So I would stand in front of the house looking at them all day, okay? And that's how I entertain myself, okay? But I would cough, I would, and so forth. I would stand there leaning against the thing, and I knew that the tongue really hurt, and when I stuck it out, I could see that it's yellow from the pus. So there's a very severe infection, and whatever the doctors did, it didn't go away for months. Okay, and that's hygiene for you at the times. And one day, all of a sudden, I don't remember how it happened, but I started reciting this mantra, one of the 10 mantras. the 10 mantras of the 7 Buddhas that will eradicate the obstructions and the retributions. In that one of the 10 right there. And all of a sudden I started reciting, and I have no idea in how I learned it, because I was very young, didn't know anything. I didn't even go to school yet, didn't go to temples at all. And for me to start reciting the mantra like that is really, really weird. And somehow I started reciting the mantras and recited every day. And for some reason, I just memorized it, which is kind of weird as well. I never read it. I never heard it. Somehow, I started reciting a mantra, just like that. And so it's sort of like someone told me, they say, hey, recite, and recite this. And pretty soon, I memorized it. I started reciting it. And within weeks, the pus went away. Okay, and so that is to tell you, this is the repentance mantra, where you recite that the repentance in front of the 7 Buddhas there. And you remember? Anyone remember that mantra? Morning ceremonies, people. Anyone? You have to look it up. Yesterday.
Polipoti. Polipoti.
Li po li po li jiu he jiu li. Okay, and so that's mantra right there is repentance mantra. Okay, so I was taught to repent, to recite the mantra as repentance. As a kid, 3-4 years old, reciting mantra, no cultivation, no chant, no nothing. That's it. I recited and it went away. It's so cool. Okay, so the point here is that you don't have to worry about it because you're learning this. The reason I believe that I was able to do that is because I recited that before. And after I recited that, I stopped. After the thing went away, the infection went away, I stopped reciting as well. That's very Buddhist. We do it because we have to, not because we want to. So my point here is that it's not a big deal. Don't try to understand so much. If you have a chance to recite. And that ties affinities, creates affinities with you. And eventually in the future, when the time comes, you'll be taught how to use them. Okay? To know them right now is meaningless. For a while, when I first started teaching about 16, 17 years ago, I knew people would ask me about the 10 small mantras, so I looked up a little bit about what they meant, and then now I forgot because no one asked. So it doesn't matter. Don't worry so much. What we do, the Dharma we're teaching you, especially the morning ceremony there, it is priceless. You just recite it, and it does wonderful things for you. It creates wonderful Mahayana affinities and blessings for you. It's just inconceivable. And that's compliments of great Master YongHua. Just have faith, believe that he did it. He taught us that. It's because it's of great benefits to us. And eventually, as the needs arise, you'll be explained. You'll be taught what to do with it. Okay? Does it help? Because if I could look it up and explain it to you again, but then you forget it in next month anyway. Yes, 5.
We have a YouTube question from Cordelia.
Yes.
She says, in the past Vajra Sutra lecture, Master said we need to plant blessings in order to trust our good knowing advisor and not to quit. And then you said there are 2 things we can do to help to plant blessings. One is to propagate the good knowing advisor's Dharma. And then there's a second way, which you said that wait until you explain the Avatamsaka Sutra, then you will tell us. So she's asking if you can tell us the second way.
The second way? I don't know. so long ago. I say a lot of things I don't mean. What's a good way to create great blessings? Avatamsaka Sutra teaches you one secret of the universe that the non-Buddhists don't know. But I'm not sure I want to tell you free. Are you Buddhists? Okay, non-Buddhist people, plug your ears, okay? It's not for you. Okay, who are good Buddhist disciples? Let me see. I want to speak to good Buddhist disciples, excellent Buddhist disciples. Just because you're Buddhist doesn't mean that you should hear this Dharma door. Only in Avatamsaka Sutra will you learn about this Dharma door. Master YongHua may have mentioned it here and there, but I don't think, from what I've seen from my generation, they don't get it. So if I told you, meaning you understand it more than my generation, which is not fair to us. Yeah. So what do you think? Huh? Should I tell you or shouldn't I tell you? If I told you, it's not fair to my generation. If I didn't tell you, then I would have lied to Cordelia. So, damn I do, damn I don't. So what am I supposed to do? What? Speak up. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm too nice. So maybe tonight I shouldn't be that nice. Why would you quote something I said like 10, 20 years ago? Huh? You know, do you remember what you said 10, 15 years ago? I don't. So are you sure I said that? Did I? Xinjie, you used to memorize everything I said. And you used to quote me, Master, you said this, you said that. I said, did I? Do you remember that? 5.
I don't remember anymore, sorry.
What is it? And I claim you improved. It seems like you regressed. Okay, just to help Master Xianjie because he regressed. He needs to catch up. Okay. The bigger way to plant blessing, great blessings, is taught in the Avatamsaka Sutra. For example, we are simply discussing the first chapter, chapter 1. You go back to chapter 1, go back to all the lectures in chapter 1. One common denominator that the Buddhas did and the Mahasattvas did, and that's what helped them to become Mahasattvas, become Buddhas, is this is worth more than Super Lotto, you know that. Why is it I teach you these things, I can't even win a Super Lotto? I don't get it. It's not fair to me either. Is the biggest Dharma door of Mahasattvas is not Shrangama mantra, like the old abbot likes to think. Shrangama mantra, number one Dharma door. Vietnamese like to say, Vietnamese disciple of Master YongHua, they say, Shrangama mantra, there's nothing more powerful than that. I said, baloney. Okay? Yeah. Huh? Anyone? All disciples of Master YongHua? You name me a Dharma door that's more powerful than this. There's no such a thing. Okay? So, all of them, the Buddhas, became Buddhas because Mahasattvas became Mahasattvas because they served their good knowing advisors. The Chinese are taught to go and seek a good knowing advisor, which Koreans don't even do anymore. Okay? Koreans don't do that. Koreans go and learn all the wrong stuff. It's about seeking a good knowing advisor. Okay? That's what the Chinese, the Asians are taught to do that. Go seek a good knowing advisor and learn. Do not try to learn by yourself because you're stupid. I'm sorry. Let me look at the right people. You are stupid. Doesn't matter how much you learn, you're still stupid. Why? Because your mind is limited. When your mind is limited, it's like this cup thing. Doesn't matter how much you pour into it, it can only contain so much. Is that clear? Are you listening? Okay? This is your limitation. So it doesn't matter how smart you are. You could be a super genius or whatever. And I've met quite a few of them. And as soon as they open their mouths, oh my God, how can you sound so stupid? Anyway, because it's only so much you can put in here in your brains. Doesn't matter. Okay? And it will overflow. You cannot retain it. Okay? That's why you cannot figure things out yourself. Come on, folks. You have to wake up to this. The reason that they are Mahasattvas because they expanded their mind to be a lot bigger than yours. That's how they became Mahasattvas. Okay? And so the Chinese are right. When they teach their people, which is they still have that tradition, except they don't know how to look for good knowing advisors anymore, the Chinese. But anyway, if they knew, they wouldn't look for them in China. They would look for them in the US. That's my proof. Okay? So anyway, settle down. Okay? So it's a lost art. It's a lost art. But anyway, so the Chinese are only taught to look for a good knowing advisor. So that's what they did. A lot of them. The famous one is Layman Pang. Okay? He went to Shu To, Great Master Shu To, learned from him. I said, he's still not good enough for me. Moved to Mazu, stay with Mazu, which is the peer. For them in China to have two great Mahasattvas appearing at the same time, it's very unusual. That means that they have so many disciples that need to be taught. Okay? And so for two of them of that caliber to appear together, and for Layman Pang to come the one and say, I disagree with your teachings. You're not good enough. To move to the next one, I like you. He stayed with him for 3 months and then left. He's an idiot. Layman Pang is a total idiot. And so that's why I'm never impressed with Layman Pang. Anyway, so for him to go and look for a good knowing advisor and finally say, none of you good enough, I will figure it out myself. And guess what? He figured out this much. He may have become enlightened, but he only become small enlightenment, middle enlightenment. There's so much more that he cannot understand by himself. Okay? And so the Chinese are taught right. They're taught that they're given that tradition. Again, the Koreans don't do it anymore. That's why your Korean Buddhism is so limited, because your Sunims no longer look for a good knowing advisor. Especially the top Sunims of yours don't look for good knowing advisors anymore. That's a big problem. Okay? So anyway, same thing with the Chinese. The Chinese are, we own Mahayana. What do the Americans know? We know a lot more than they realize. Okay? So the Chinese principle is correct. You look for a good knowing advisor, period. You want to cultivate You look for a good knowing advisor, you draw near a good knowing advisor. What they are not taught is that looking for good knowing advisors is not good enough. You go near good knowing advisors is good enough. Very much like you stay in the same temple, good knowing advisors. How many of them became enlightened? Chinese is not very bright. They are not taught the whole picture. It's not until the Avatamsaka Sutra was explained by Master YongHua that we finally are learning. And he didn't emphasize it. I'm emphasize it for you. Because if you didn't do this, you will not be able to surpass the Chinese. You have to serve the Buddhas and the Mahasattvas. That's how you plant blessings. It's that simple. All these Mahasattvas, they got there because they serve countless Buddhas and Mahasattvas. Okay? So, that's the secret in the Avatamsaka Sutra. Unless you serve the Buddhas and the Mahasattvas, your attainment is very low. It doesn't matter how many times you recite the Shrangmama mantra, how many times you recite the Dharma Flower Sutra, how many times you memorize the Avatamsaka Sutra, you cannot make it. That's the secret. Okay. I think that's enough for today. We learned this is the best deal possible, so we can stop here, and that's all we need to know. You are greedy. You should be so happy. How many people know this? Not many people. Especially the Chinese who think they own Chinese Buddhism. No, they don't. Certainly not Koreans. Koreans only go to a monastery somewhere in Asia, maybe, what's that place? Paok? Which country is that? I forgot already. Myanmar, thank you very much. Very famous. They go to Myanmar, they go to Tibet and so forth and learn. The Koreans go to Tibet and the Tibetans learned as well. Okay, but they're not taught. You have to find a high level good knowing advisor and serve them. You don't just look for them and go near them and learn. That's not enough. And that's a problem with Chinese Buddhism nowadays. They don't serve the good knowing advisors. The Koreans never did. That's why their level is limited. Many Buddhist people, many people who practice jhana or don't even look for good advisor, let alone the advanced ones. Any questions or comments? Yes.
Thank you, Master. How does one serve one's good knowing advisor?
Beats me. I never could. No one would let me serve them.
I can cook.
Huh?
I can cook lunch. What else can I do?
When you go to a restaurant, that's a good question, but use your common sense. You go to a restaurant. You women want to go to a restaurant because you don't want to cook. Yes, Evan.
Because I need a break.
You need a break. You don't want to cook. Hey, little one. And that one is sleeping already. Look at that. It's not even 11 yet, and she's, oh, I'm so sleepy. I'm so sleepy. Why do you go to restaurants?
Food.
For food. See? They're so spoiled. That's my point. Anyone, why would you go to a restaurant? Xian Fa, why do you go to restaurants? You're the wise one.
Having fun.
What?
Having fun for good food.
Having fun?
Yeah.
Good time with good people.
And you call it cultivation? Are you cultivate? What kind of temple do you think we are? Having fun? God. Yes, 6. That's horrible.
Definitely want to eat the delicious food.
Yeah, I want to eat delicious food. Okay? Anyone else? You forgot a fundamental thing. Yes, in the back.
Master, is that to be served?
To be served? This guy is too smart for his own good. You go to restaurants. Yes, Chung-Yin Sunim. I call it Chung-Yin because you're more Korean than American.
음식을 맛봄으로써
See, I knew he would speak Korean.
문화를 배울 수 있기 때문입니다. 문화와 정신을 배울 수 있기 때문입니다. 음식을 맛봄으로써.
Got to be the wrong answer. Too long. Sangwook Sunim, translate.
Sunim, we cannot hear you.
We can learn culture and spirit by eating food.
That's true, but yeah. Oh, I'm worried. Okay, San Jose people, can you enlighten us? Huh? Why do you go to a restaurant? Ivy. Ivy says, oh, I feel so good. Now Master says, he calls on me, so now I get to get into Full Lotus again. Why do you go into Full Lotus? I mean, the restaurants. Huh? Why? I call on them because I point out their mistakes right away, their weaknesses right away. Yeah, this one has no clues. Anyone, why would you go to a restaurant? It's fundamental. Xin Liao, why do you go to a restaurant? She's hiding behind a column there. Why do you go to a restaurant? Say it. Be truthful.
Khỏi nấu nữa. Khỏi nấu ăn.
He says, I don't have to cook. Same thing, yeah. Who's the guy sitting way behind there in Go Force? I cannot see his face. In the center. Behind Ivy. Ray Xu, huh? Ray, what are you? Oh, forget him. He doesn't know. Huh? You go to restaurants for many reasons. One reason for women and for some men is that we don't have to clean up. You go to fast food, you still have to, you're supposed to wipe the table clean, yes? It's annoying. But when you go to a restaurant, you don't have to clean up. Yes, 7.
And there's a leftover, so we could eat next day.
Honey, get your husband to buy more fresh food. Yeah, I know. This girl here, so you married the wrong guy. If I your husband, I say, honey, I buy all the fresh new food you like. Don't forget about the leftovers. Okay, but I'm known to lie as well. Okay, so you see, You go to a restaurant to be served. You stay at home because you have to serve your family, your children, your husband, your wife, and so forth. You go to a restaurant because you get served. Okay, so the question originally was, how do you serve the Mahasattvas and Buddhas? How? You know, amazing that unless you ask a question, no one knows the answer, and you think you understand Buddhism, you understand Mahayana already. So, especially those of you who have degrees in, who've been studying Mahayana and meditating so much. I ask you just a simple question. How do you serve? The analogy of with the restaurants. What's the analogy? You go to a restaurant because you need to eat. You need to enjoy yourself. You need a break. All those reasons, yes? That's why you go there, to be served, so that you don't have to do it. Yes? Because you can cook yourself. Yes? You can clean yourself. But you choose not to. Do you get it? Get it? Do I have to spell it out for you? What, are you stupid or something? Are you like smaller than this? No wonder. I'm so tired after every single lecture. I say, oh my God, they don't get it. To serve the Mahasattvas and the Buddhas, you assist them in what they try to do. Mahasattvas and Buddhas never waste time. Whatever they do is very important. So all you have to do is assist them, help them. That's all. Instead of you ordinary people, especially at JC there in Korea, all of you right there, I look at all of you, you are plotting on how to serve yourself. Yes or no? 네. All of you. You're saying, okay, what can they do for me? What can Master do for me? What can Buddhism do for me? That's all you're thinking. You are trying to get us to serve you. That's why you're Koreans. Okay? Whereas, in the Avatamsaka Sutra here, we're learning that all these beings became enlightened, became world rulers because they served countless Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. The question you might ask is, how do I serve a Buddha? You can't. That's why you have to start first with serving a Bodhisattva, and you graduate up and higher and higher and higher and higher. Because you don't have the skill to serve them. I'm so tired. It's like I'm speaking into a wall. It bounces right back. And some of them, I don't know. Okay. Does it help? Boy, and I've been giving you Super Lotto tickets, but equivalents, but still no Super Lotto. What is it? Who says life is fair? Imagine you win the Super Lotto, what you're going to do with it? Serve yourself. Yes? How does it help you? Go back to sleep, you. Okay. 508, I'm calm, okay? I've been living with disappointment for all this time. So these are very famous concepts. What kind of Buddhist teachings are there? First is gradual teaching, you hear of it. Second is sudden, you keep on hearing about it here in particular. Number 3, perfect, okay? He'll go into them a little bit later. Oh, very, very, very soon. Next. 509. The first is for those whose roots are not yet ripe. It starts by speaking of impermanence and then afterwards speaks of permanence.
初位根未熟者，先说无常，后方说常。
Okay, commentary, slide 510. Master Qingliang says, for those who teach gradual teaching, okay, then there is a order, is a sequence of teaching. Gradual teaching begins with teaching us about impermanence. What's impermanence? Impermanence means that everything changes. Nothing lasts forever. Except for Donald Trump. No? Putin? Oh. Anyway, let's keep politics out of Avatamsaka Sutra. Okay, I apologize. So the roots who are not yet ripe, so meaning the people, he'll explain about ripening, roots ripening as well later. But the point is that there's for a certain type of people, not for everyone, where they start by teaching impermanence. Impermanence, Master Shion explains as true emptiness. I don't like to explain it that way. Impermanence is emptiness. Drop the truth. Meaning that whatever you see right now is only temporary. Remember when you liked that car so much when you first bought it? How long did it last, the excitement? That's so long ago, huh? So the point here is that everything we experience is impermanent because it's based on the concept of emptiness. Everything changes, everything deteriorates until it disappears, including us. Anything in this world, whatever you want to call it, deteriorates and will perish and return to emptiness. That's impermanence. Any problems with that? And that's wisdom. When I told you that you are enlightened, that is predicated upon your being able to see impermanence. Meaning what? When your mom afflicts you, is that permanent or impermanent? When your husband afflicts you, is that permanent or impermanent? Impermanent. Right? Because he's going to perish himself. He's going to disappear in front of your eyes. Wouldn't that make you happy? Because he afflicted you, remember? Got that? I'm joking, but there's a point here I'm trying to make. Why do we call it wisdom? Is because you can look at everything and say, fundamentally, You are empty. All of you, except for Jung, in San Jose, none of you is moving. The point of impermanence is that, bottom line is that your afflictions are also empty. What afflictions? Agree? And until you are able to see that, you have no wisdom. You're confused. If you cannot see your afflictions as empty. That Super Lotto, except for Super Lotto, I won't go that far, okay? Super Lottos are not empty, the rest is empty. Any problems? And that's wisdom, okay? If you can look at everything else empty except for Super Lotto, I call you enlightened right away. If you give it to me. Never mind, I'm a cheap advertisement, sorry, I take it back. The point here is that wisdom is to be able, in the face of affliction, to drop your affliction immediately. That's why it's called wisdom. People who do not have wisdom remain depressed, remain afflicted, remain angry, because they cannot drop it. And if you have wisdom, all you have to do is call upon your wisdom and say, who's angry? No one. I'm empty. I'm angry at who? No one. She's empty. Like Sienna asked me, she tells her people, then you go to United States, check the car master drives. It's my car. She says, he's driving my car. I said, okay, I'm driving her car. And guess what? She still sees a car. I don't see a car. I'm not driving anything. That's why I abuse it. Climb on medians and pavements and everything else. Because it's empty. Yeah, Chung-Yin don't like this too much. You're a bad boy. Got that? Wisdom means what? Being able to drop it immediately. You don't have wisdom, that's why you can't drop it. For example, you see a cute girl. What do? No, when you see a cute girl, you realize you like it, drop her. You're empty. Too hard to do. Anyone has an example of how to apply emptiness? Disclose your heart. Be honest. How about mommy? Mommy is empty. What mommy? And that's wisdom. Because if you learn about impermanence, the Buddhists teach you about impermanence so that you are able to free yourself from all sorts of afflictions. That's how you acquire wisdom. The non-Buddhists, they're proud of the fact they're attached. We are proud of the fact we detach. There's no wisdom in attaching, maybe becoming attached. But don't misunderstand the concept of emptiness. You are not empty because you're afflicted, but you can choose to empty yourself and you have no more affliction instantaneously. Whereas others, they cannot. They can only talk about it. They can only imagine. But you can empty yourself. That's why you're called, you're said to have wisdom. Don't have to disguise it. Ooh. You have to pretend. And that's why in Buddhism, when I teach you, I train you, what do you do? What do I teach you? Principle, number, I don't know whatever number anymore. Ask yourself, is it the case that you lie? What is it referring to? Lying to yourself. Yes, I like a red car, but you know what? Because I admit I like a red car, guess what? I can drop it just like that. If I say, no, I'm pretty sure I don't want it, guess what? I can't drop it. Because I'm lying to myself. Lying to you is easy. What's most damaging is I'm lying to myself. That's why I can never get rid of my affliction. When are you going to learn? Stop pretending. You keep pretending, you keep disguising, you keep hiding. It's lying to yourself. I'm calm, I think. I'm empty. Okay, so in order to teach ordinary people, the Buddhist teachers recognize they don't have wisdom, therefore the first phase, you have to bring them to wisdom, first level wisdom, where they are able to recognize impermanence. Okay? Until you're able to see everything is empty, including yourself, you have no wisdom. And the reason many of you are still stuck is because you keep on fooling yourself, saying, no, I'm really not attached to it, but actually you are. You're shooting yourself in the foot. It's not our fault. It's not about you, me approving of you. It's about you having to be truthful to yourself. Because you have the one who has to drop. I don't care. I can hold as many things that you drop as possible. All your money, your cars, your houses, everything. Because I don't need to be empty. You're the one who would need to be empty. Why? Because I'm moving on to the next level already. Sounds good? Okay, so the first level is emptiness. Okay? Okay. Once you understand emptiness, meaning emptiness translates as, can you drop it now? Not here. Intellectually, can you drop it? Can you drop your master? Can you drop your father? Can you drop your son? And that's impermanence. And once you're able to do that, then you be taught about permanence. Okay? That's the next level of wisdom. Now, I don't like the way Master Shua explains a wonderful existence. It means nothing to you. For me to tell you that permanent is wonderful existence is only words to you. I don't care if you say the right words or not. I look at you and say, your words are empty to you. They certainly sound empty to me. You don't understand what you're speaking. So why should I teach you? Permanence is actually wonderful existence when you don't even know what wonderful existence is? That's the problem I have. Okay? Permanence is, it's real. It's not about wonderful existence. It's real. Why? The sequence? First of all, you need to understand impermanence or emptiness because that's how you get rid of your affliction. You stop fooling yourself and pretending. You think when you pretend that we don't know? When you pretend, that's what happens. We won't touch you with 10 football because who wants to help you? You don't want to be helped. You pretend. You say, no, like me, respect me, because I'm not like that. When you're lying to yourself. If you lie to yourself, we can't help you. Idiots. And once you're able to have wisdom, wisdom again is the ability, the fundamental ability to drop immediately. You don't need a reason. I know the Chinese don't explain it to you that way, or the Korean don't explain it to you that way, or the Vietnamese don't explain it to you that way, the Tibetan don't explain it to you that way, the Japanese don't explain it to you that way, because they all talk about theory. I'm talking about what it takes for you to have wisdom. Can you drop? Now. Yes, 7. It's hard to stay calm with you because you look at... never mind, I'm calm.
Thank you, Master. Is the reason that we cannot drop things is because we don't have enough blessings?
Whatever the reasons. So many reasons. So once you're able to drop so that you are not afflicted, okay? Then you'll be taught about permanence, because until you're not afflicted, everything you do when you're afflicted is stupid. Is it clear? Does it make sense? You try to help, especially like mothers, try to help their daughters. such a stupid way, because you cannot help them when you're afflicted. How do you prove to me you're not afflicted? If your mother tries to help you, and I said, no, you can't help. How do you prove to me if that you can help your daughters? By letting them suffer. Because you cannot stand to see them suffer. You're stupid in that state of mind. If you're in that state of mind, you cannot help people. So, until you are able to not be afflicted, meaning that you realize you're afflicted, you can drop it right away. Then you're in state of wisdom. Then you can be taught about permanence. What is permanence? Permanence is that real. It's real. What is real? What real are we talking about? Real to you? Is it real to you? It's amazing. The Chinese and the Koreans, they speak so much about this, and no one can answer me what's empty and what's permanent. And that's why I don't like these explanations. Wonderful existence, true emptiness. That's baloney. That's all due respect. It's theory. It's nonsense. Yeah. It's nonsense. Okay. What is real? Is it real to you? 6.
Realism is meaning to me. Some meaning to me. So
don't try to help people yet. Okay, anyone else? What's real? Seven.
It's what we see, we feel, we live every day. Isn't that real for me?
Don't try to help. Anyone else? What's real? I just told you. It's not real to you because you're empty. Then what is it real? Who is it real to? The others. If you want to help others, you have to relate to them with things that are real to them. Because if you're both empty, there's nothing to talk about. You don't get it? If you're empty, you don't need to do anything. You stay between the four walls and okay, I'm empty, you're empty, everything is empty. It doesn't matter, everything is impermanent, so why bother? I bother because it may be empty to me, but it's real to you. I can't help you unless I can help you with something that's real to you. If it's empty to you, I can't help you. You don't need my help. You got to explain at the level where you're real at a different kind of way to explain about real. I'm explaining it to you about connecting with people. The problem with the Buddhist teaching is that they claim they have wisdom by saying that I can drop everything, but that's not The entire wisdom is that your wisdom grows bigger when you know how to help others. If you only see the emptiness, you only can help yourself. You cannot help anyone else. And basically, you're useless. You're basically a parasite to society. We don't need you. If you're like that, I'm not going to support you. I support you because you're useful to society. If you say, Master, support me so I have my wisdom, I can have no affliction, I say, no, I'm not interested. Go somewhere else. This is not what we stand for. We stand for the fact that we acquire wisdom to help others. It has to be real wisdom, because if you cannot empty yourself, you will fool yourself into plotting for yourself in the name of helping others. That's Warren Buffett. I have a problem with him. He says, I'm making money so that eventually I will give all the money to charity. But how are you making money, sir? You're making money by investing in companies that are harmful to society, and then you use that profits, those proceeds, to help society? It doesn't make sense to me. Why don't you choose companies who are actually beneficial to society and help and nurture them and grow them, make them become bigger, more powerful for the sake of helping more of society? Why do you stop, sir, at only making money? I know, not to mention a little con man like Elon Musk, who all he does is make money for himself. He doesn't give a damn about anyone else. That's really sheer stupidity. In Buddhism, your wisdom is to be able to help yourself. But the biggest wisdom is to learn how to help others, how to benefit others. And in benefiting others, guess what happens? You have to sacrifice yourself. And if you're smart, ordinary people will say, why do I need to sacrifice myself? What are they to me? And that's why you refuse. Smart people say, that's a very dumb thing to do. Sacrificing yourself to help others is nonsense. Actually, in Buddhism, you're able to do that because you look at yourself as empty. That's why it makes sense to you. It doesn't make sense to stupid people. It's a lot of talk. You be groomed one step at a time. And that's the path of Mahayana. We teach you about impermanence, and eventually we teach you about permanence. And look around you, the different people, and all sorts of people at various degrees of where they are. Some are in permanence, many are at permanence, and so forth. Okay? It's not talk, it's about you. What can you do? How can you really help? And some stupid people who only think of themselves and plot for themselves. Okay? And when you reach higher level, that's when you talk about true emptiness and wonderful existence. That's different. You will graduate towards that. Okay? But to talk about wonderful existence right now are like speaking a foreign language to you. You don't know what I'm talking about. Okay? And so he says, for those whose roots are not ripe yet, and again, it will be explained later what is when the roots are ripe, okay? Meaning, at this point here, you need to understand that these teachers, like the Buddhas, they're able to recognize when the roots are ripe. They don't do it blindly. You do it blindly, but they don't. Okay? So that's why the teachers speak of impermanence, and afterwards speaks of permanence. Okay? 511. First of emptiness and afterwards of non-emptiness, and so forth. In that way, there's gradual succession, so it is called gradual.
先空后不空等，如是渐次，故名为渐。
Okay, 512. This is very important for you, for me to emphasize for your sake. Okay, the gradual succession concept here is very important. Okay, meaning that it is something that you need to be able to realize, to achieve. And it's not something you're supposed to be able to understand or conceive of intellectually, not at all. That doesn't count. For you to read about it and say, yeah, of course it's gradual teaching. That's nonsense. Gradual teaching is designed to help you drop things instantaneously. That's what makes you a superior being. You don't have to be smart. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to be famous. If you're able to drop things instantaneously, that makes you a superior person with wisdom. It's not about knowledge, I emphasize. There are too many Buddhist scholars, including these masters here, including many, many people here in this country and all over the world who studied a lot of Buddhist concepts, went to Buddhist schools. Okay, for example, I chuckled at so many people now signing up for Buddhist classes from temples, from universities and so forth. They get a diploma, put it on the wall, say, I have certificate of accomplishment here from Buddhist, certified Buddhist as having knowledge about Buddhism, certain level of knowledge about Buddhism. It's all nonsense. You don't need to be certified. If you really have wisdom, why do you need a piece of paper on the wall? Why do you need to be known as PhD? Why do you need to be known as doctor? Why do you need to be known as professor, expert in Buddhism? Because it's empty. It's not empty to you. That's why you're still attached to recognition, attached to diplomas. And if you go to places that give you such diplomas, such certification, you're not going to learn wisdom. You're learning worldly knowledge. When are you going to learn? When are people going to wake up to this? It's so stupid to go to university and get a PhD in Buddhism and put it on the wall. It's so stupid. When I see a diploma on the wall, I say, this person, that name right there, has no wisdom. Because if you have wisdom, guess what? The diploma is empty. Why would you waste money putting it on the wall? Why would you waste money getting that diploma anyway? Remember, wisdom is to drop. Meaning that you can have this, but until you need to, you can drop it. Just like that. I can't. Too expensive. Got that? So that's why you need to be trained about emptiness, trained to drop things so that you're free. That you are no longer scheming for yourself only. Because until then, that's all you can do. So all you can do is scheme for yourself. That's why you have no wisdom. You think it's cool to scheme for yourself. You can't drop yourself. So when you're first learn about emptiness, meaning you are able to empty yourself, no longer plot for yourself. Then you be taught about non-emptiness. There's a sequence. It's very important. That's why it's called gradual succession. That's why it's called gradual. It's gradual unfolding of your wisdom. There's a process that everyone must go through, bar none. Buddhists too must go through this. Buddhist recipe, folks. It's not talk. We've proven this over and over again for every single living being who made it to Buddhahood. They all have to do this. Why? Because your roots have not ripened yet. Therefore, you must do this. And you think you can sit there and figure it out yourself? You can't. Because the person who has figured it out is able to see where you're not empty, but you can't see it yourself. I only told you about the little diploma on the wall there. That's nothing. There's so many things that you cannot see, you cannot empty. Questions, comments? Okay? So there is a recipe, there is a sequence. It's in order to develop your profound wisdom that only the Buddhists in Mahayana know. You go, for example, to non-Mahayana people, and what I mean is that they call Mahayana, that's it. There's nothing else. They don't call them XX or, XXY, whatever, okay? It's Mahayana. You have to come to Mahayana to learn this. Outside of Mahayana, whether they call themselves Hinayana, whatever they want to call themselves, that's not Mahayana. It's very clear in Buddhism. Are you Mahayana or not? You're not Mahayana. You don't have these recipes. In Buddhism, we are very secretive about this. Only the people that know understand this. We're teaching you Mahayana because we're not teaching you anything else lower than that. That's why Master YongHua had to bring Mahayana to the US, where it can be taught. So most of his Chinese, and most of his disciples of my generation are Chinese anyway, so he's teaching it to the Chinese. But then the Chinese are too Chinese. That's why they can't teach it to the Americans. Questions? That's gradual teachings. It's very important point here. The sequence matters. You cannot, very much like you cannot speed up a wine maturing. It's not possible. You have to do it gradually. Yes, 7.
Thank you, Master. So the only way to really even go through this process is you have to have a good knowing advisor.
Yeah, he has.
There's just no other way.
Because he has a vision. He has the what shall we say, the vision, the master plan that cannot be explained to you. You're not supposed to know. Explaining it to you will make you confused. That's all. That's why it's not explained to you. Is that clear? It doesn't matter how smart you are, how wise you are, how educated you are, how rich you are, how successful you are. It doesn't matter. It cannot be explained to you. Will never be explained to you. Okay? And let me remind, especially you Vietnamese people, you think you can figure it out. Tết mà rốc cốc keng is the answer, Vietnamese answer. Meaning never. The Vietnamese are very proud. They say, I can figure it out. I'm so-and-so, I'm smart, I figured out everything in my entire life. Okay? I can figure it out. You can't. Only stupid people believe they can figure it out. Trust me. Next. Oh, do we have any time? I'm too intense tonight. It's because I was depressed earlier. Did you hear about that? I was so depressed for the whole week. And that's why I'm a little bit violent today. I apologize. Okay? I'm not empty, as you noticed so far. Okay, the anger is still there, I think. It's still welling up. Two, for the category of those whose roots are ripe, a single Dharma door declares fully both permanence and impermanence, both emptiness and non-emptiness, and so forth.
二为根熟之辈，于一法门具足演说，常无常，空不空等。
Okay. Point here, 514, is that first you have to go through gradual because your roots are not mature, have not ripened. Everyone has to go through that. It's very much like a baby needs to grow up. Okay? There's no two ways about it. You all have to do that. Okay? The exception is for those whose roots are ripe, meaning they're no longer babies. Okay? Whatever that means. Okay? A little bit later, a little bit coming up next week or whatever. They are taught a single Dharma door declares both emptiness and permanence. Okay? So they're spoken together. They're not separated. Why? Because you're able to digest it. Because if we were to teach it one after another, they said, you're lying to me, that's not true. You see, these people, they got both already, so you explain one to them and say, but you are not telling me the whole picture. That's why, because they're so sharp, they understand already, you have to explain both at the same time. Does it make sense? Both faces, both sides of the coin. Head and tail at the same time. Got it? Okay, because these people are superior people. You cannot waste time with them. So far, so good? Oh, I'm so fast. When you reduce your affliction, how fast you can go. All are spoken together without going through the gradual at all. So it's called sudden.
一切据说，更无由见，故名为顿。
Okay, so gradual is that you have to do its sequence gradually. Sudden is that you give it to them right away. Okay? The whole picture. Okay? And that's the difference between gradual versus sudden. Gradual is step by step. Sudden is that I tell you everything at once. So what do you want to learn? Gradual or sudden? Let's have a show of hands. Who wants to learn gradual? Who wants to learn sudden? But you your roots are not ripe. What can I do? Time is up. Next week, we continue with at 5:17. Thank you, everyone. Good night. We do the rebirth transference, and I apologize again for my temper tonight. I'm very bitter for some reason. I've been hurt all week, you know. And so Master Xin will preside over the rebirth transference. Can I go hide in my corner and try to empty myself?